ironically, I was at Zepp and I get this phone call and the message is, "Hey, Paddy, how you doing? This is Tony Manzoni. What's going on? Listen, you got that Zepp product. Can you do me a favor and fly down to the desert and teach my boys how to use it? Because I think it's fantastic and I think you can help my team." I'm literally like, who is this guy? Like he's casted from The Sopranos, right? So I flew down and spent a couple days with his team. We walk into the shop. He's like, "Paddy, how you doing, Tony?" And so a very pretty lady comes walking in. She's probably, I gotta say, 45 or 50, and she's asking him a question, and he's being super polite to her. And then he turns around. He's like, "Paddy, follow me to the office." We walk down this little corridor, and he stops dead on a dime, and he turns around and he goes, "You know, you'd think at 77 you still wouldn't be attracted to a woman, but I gotta tell you, that never goes away." I have much respect for Tony Manzoni. I miss that guy.
Hi, this is Cully Johnston from Berwyn, Illinois, and I play at Columbus Park Golf Course. This is Golf Smarter number 893.
A 40-year teaching and product business veteran shares stories from the inside with Paddy Shea.
This is Golf Smarter, sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Greene.
Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Paddy.
Thank you, Fred. Great to be here.
Great to have you on. I like to get some old-timers on every so often.
Old-timers?
Who've been around the block a couple times.
Who are you calling old-timers?
I know I'm a lot older than you.
No, come on. I'm just kidding. We're in the same wheelhouse.
But you've been in the business a long time, and you've seen a lot.
I have.
And that's why I'm real excited to talk to you today, because there's some things that you've done that are not part of your normal resume that we'll flesh out here, but also there's some great products that have come and gone and been around for a long time that you had your hand in.
That's correct. Yeah. It's been, in fact, I was just telling somebody I went to my 30th PGA show this year. So, I woke up and all of a sudden I'm about to be 55 in a month. Wow. I've served my time in this industry. That is for sure.
That's for sure. But you've also, you were a PGA golf professional, and you've helped people on tour and did some things that are pretty outrageous. Tell me about your time that you were working on the tour.
Well, I tried to play. Actually, I played college golf, and I tried to play, and I just, as 99.999% of guys realize, is they're just not good enough. Right. And so good. But I tried to play until my late 20s, and then invented a product in golf. And I kind of was initially in tech and started to head toward that direction product-wise. And I did that, which we can get into later for probably about 11 years. And then I got into the tech side of the game and started managing a brand new product called Zepp. It's a sensor that you wore on your glove. And
right.
And so
I remember Zepp.
They had so much stuff that they were measuring. It was based out of China. And so I came in and essentially helped people understand it. I stripped it down to measuring maybe 8 components instead of 140. But one of the cool things we did was measure hand path. And then I developed something called a swing signature, where you looked at the down the line shape of what the hand path does and the club path and what they did together. And that was fascinating. So I got to go work with some of the best coaches and teachers. I got to go out on tour and sort of, I was like a fly on the wall. It was phenomenal for somebody that loves the game to be walking, like on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at a tour event at a major. I got to work with guys like Brennan Steele. He was just a fantastic human. Keegan Bradley, Michelle Wee, Rocco Mediate. Rick Smith was one of our main coaches. Chuck Cook, So,
and this is when you were with Zepp?
Yeah, I did that for about 6 years. And that ended probably around the end of 2017, I think.
Okay.
So
tell me, give me the first crazy story about being out inside the ropes.
I'll tell you a great story that people don't really know is that I I walked pretty much everywhere, and the tour's going to hate me for saying this, but I walked everywhere without
They're not listening, I promise.
that's fine, yeah. I walked everywhere without credentials. They say that whole attitude and a clipboard. I dressed like a pro. I looked like a pro. It probably helped that I was walking with pros and coaches, but it blew me away because I got to a point where I got pretty cocky. And I only got stopped one time in like 5.5 years. And, but it's, if you look like you belong, another great story I'll tell you is, I was at,
wait, did you tell me the first one yet?
Well, that was just it. Like I had access to everywhere without really having to have credentials. That's pretty cool to me.
Listen, when you have an attitude, when you walk around with attitude, like you own the place, no one's going to stop you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just there are so many good stories. I ended up in some restaurants on like Tuesday. Monday night is fun time to be out on tour because you get guys that'll cut loose, and you have a few cocktails and you get to hear stories that you never would normally hear. So
come on, man!
Don't
tease me like this. I'll turn your microphone off.
Most of it's caddy stories, but
those are the best.
Yeah, and those guys are actually, ironically, I moved here to Carmel 2.5 years ago, and all my best friends are the caddies. They're actually
not surprised.
Yeah, a lot of them are better than the actual tour pros themselves, but. One funny story I got for you is it's not so juicy, but I just love this guy. I hung out a little bit with Jerry Kelly, and we were at the John Deere, and we walked up to the lunchroom right after he played, and I watched him go over to the soft serve ice cream machine and get a bowl of ice cream about this big, and then just devour it. He might have even had a dip in at the time, but just a good guy. I don't know. It's a lot of those guys are great out there. And to be, I wanted to play on tour. I just was never good enough. So the next best thing is sort of being there and hanging out with these guys. And, but also then on top of it, I'm a lifetime student of the game. So to sit down and talk to guys and ask them questions personally, and they're so open, that kind of blew me away as well.
Yeah. I love having caddies. I love talking to caddies. We had one on a number of weeks ago who 2 weeks later was working with Kurt Kitayama when he won that tour event. Because caddies, professional golfers, they've been burned. A lot of them have been burned by the media. And so they're very guarded about what they say. And caddies are like, so what? Well, so they have great stories to share.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, are there any magical caddies that you know of? Like if you read Golf in the Kingdom, right? And all this guy who's hiding in the corner and it's like, wait, who is that? What? Do you know of anybody like that, or
like a Bagger Vance?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't. It's funny though. I do think there are caddies that are a whole lot better than others. And to me, I think it's the ones that are able to help guys mentally. That's where the difference is, to help them either relax, feel normal, or everything's the same. And then to pull them out of bad decisions, or help them to make good ones. And we all know, I mean, it's like, why is he hitting driver? Why? Van de Velde. That's just came up the other day. But yeah, I think it's a team thing. The thing about golf to me is it's a lonely, lonely sport. It's the loneliest game you can play. It's why a lot of kids, I think I've always said, you have to be kind of an oddball as a kid to play golf, which I was. The reason why I played is I was 5'2", 109 pounds my freshman year. And so I couldn't play any sports. I would get my butt kicked. And the two sports I wanted to play, I was mini sized, and so I couldn't do it. But
what are those sports? Football and
basketball. Yeah.
Basketball. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Really, football was my love, but I was worse than Rudy. I would have just gotten killed.
Yeah, my son wanted to play football, and we were like, "No, you're not playing football." And he's like, "You know what? Probably a good idea because in high school I'd be sitting on the bench the whole time." So he went out for the wrestling team and thrived for 4 years
Yeah,
in
sometimes,
wrestling.
life
You
pushes
can
you
be
in
a
the right
little guy,
direction. Yeah.
yeah. You can be a little guy and still do well on a wrestling team
Yeah.
because it is a team sport for schools
Yeah,
like
for
that.
sure. For sure.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, we're going to take a timeout. We'll be back right after this, and we'll drag some stories out of you. So you live in the Carmel Valley area,
Yeah.
down by Monterey, and there's some unbelievable golf down there that you probably get a lot of chances to play.
Arguably the best in the world.
Arguably, I'm sure people will make that argument, but
Yep.
yeah. I've played Carmel Valley. I've played Poppy a couple times, and I've played. Well, I don't know why I'm just blanking on the name of the most famous of all of them. And
Pebble Beach.
thank you. I played there once too. That was a long time ago.
The Preserve, Spyglass. Yeah.
Nope. And
Monterey Peninsula.
Yeah, actually, nope. How's Cypress Point doing these days? I saw some pictures after those hard rains and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, how are they going to ever have golf tournaments there? Is it doing all right?
Great. Yeah. I mean, the forest itself, I drove through there, lost so many trees. It's unbelievable. But part of the reason is Carmel's got a thing about trees, and they should probably cut them back, but they don't. But the course has recovered great. I actually, ironically, played maybe right after all the torrential rains, and Cypress always seems to be open unless it's unsafe. But I played, and it was maybe the wettest conditions ever, but the best conditions. I've got a real good buddy of mine by the name of Andy Dahlhammer, who is kind of a local legend. He's a 38-year caddy there, and he set me up with, at the time, I didn't even know who he was, but a pretty famous caddy out there by the name of Ray. And I don't know if you've heard the story on this guy, but you make your way around Cypress and you get out to 15, and he says, hey, Paddy, follow me. And so he kind of peels off the back, kind of weaving in and out. And there's this sign that says, Ray lived here from, it's like, I can't remember now. It's 82 to 83 or 79 to 80. And I'm like, you lived here? He's like, yeah, I lived in this bush. The caddies used to kind of camp some here, but in order to get a loop, you had to be the first of the course. So I just started sleeping here. And it's a real famous story. And so Andy Dahlhammer carved out a wooden plaque that says that Ray lived here. But apparently there was a homeless guy that lived there back. I mean, back in the late 1800s, you weren't homeless. You just lived outside. And but the neat story is, I'm really butchering it. The guy's he's been out there for his whole life, and he's the sweetest, funniest guy ever. But there's a bench that you walk out to just from where he lived, and you sit on it where he used to sit. And there is 2 bottles of Patron tequila, and he sits you on the bench, and he pours you each a shot of tequila, which you slug, and he won't drink because he wants his job. And so he doesn't drink on the job at all. But it's just, I don't know, man. It's one of the probably more magical moments in my golfing life. Of you talk about homage, not only to what's so cool about the club is they appreciate and really respect this man and the history. At the same time, they give him a place to share with members and guests, and the place really is magic. I mean, if they say, if you have the chance to walk on those hallowed grounds, they say the same about Augusta, but I guarantee you there's not a caddy living out there with 2 bottles of tequila at any one point.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
How often do you use a caddy? I'm curious about this because you're a skilled golfer. You've been playing most of your life. And,
if I'm playing a great golf course, I will use a caddy. And in fact, I have a lot of people that will come in and visit me from all over the world, especially like Ireland and the East Coast. And if we set up golf at Pebble or Monterey, especially if it's their first time, I make them take a caddy.
Okay.
I just think caddies, they take away the distractions of what a cart can interfere with. I think the whole good walk spoiled things. I mean, just I don't know, to be able to be out there walking with somebody that's carrying your bag and sort of take it all in. It's a whole lot different experience than it is riding a cart.
Yeah. I'm going up to Bandon in June, and I'm really looking forward to just walking and having someone carry my bag. But I've only had a caddy at Pebble the one time, and the one time and that I played at Bandon, and both of those were well over a decade ago.
Yeah.
So I don't, I play the same courses basically most of the time, so I don't use caddies. And then the courses that I go to, they don't offer caddies a lot. But is it something you do if for a course that you play on a regular basis?
No,
you don't really need to. No.
Well, I mean, the other side, the upside of having a caddy, of course, is that they're going to tell you all about the course and what to hit and where not to hit. And that's, when you're playing one of the best courses and it's your first or second time, third or fourth, especially with helping reading greens, those guys have been out there for ever. And a putt that looks like it's going to go right 5 feet ends up going left 3. I think it's helpful, but no, I live on a golf course. I have a cart. So, for me, after we talk here, I'm going to jump in my cart, grab a couple beers and go play. I'll get in, maybe 9 holes, and it's just quicker that way. But it's a good question. I think obviously if you're playing Augusta, you're taking caddies, but actually,
playing Augusta.
I just got a pull cart. So I'm starting to walk.
Push cart?
Is it? Yeah. What is it? Is it a pull cart or a push cart?
If it's 2 wheels, it's pull. And if it's 3 wheels or 4 wheels, it's push.
I haven't seen a 2-wheel cart.
Well, you generally I see the 2-wheelers when you're renting a cart.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You're not gonna,
No, this is a Sun Mountain 3-wheeler. Yeah. It's like a baby stroller.
It's a push cart.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work the December fat off right now.
Yeah, well, listen, we've had a lot of rain here in Northern California, and it feels like we're taking the whole winter off.
Oh, I got to tell you, I owe an apology to people who are from Portland and Seattle, which half my family is. My wife's from Portland, my dad's from Seattle, but how do they do it?
Forget about that. What about the people in the the Midwest, the Upper Midwest, and the East Coast, where they can't play for 5 to 7 months a year because of the bad weather? So
I don't.
Yeah, we complain, and they say, "Tell us to shut up."
Well, we are.
Like,
we're giant.
Stop whining.
We're the worst, though. We're so soft in California. You know that.
I tell people all the time, I'm a weather wimp, man. If it's under 55 degrees and damp, I'm out. I'm not playing.
100%. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Tell me about you've got some products that you've put out. Very popular. The one, the Golo dice game, was yours.
Yeah, that's kind of really when you have severe ADHD like myself, your brain is just constantly on fire. You too? Yeah.
Oh,
and and so I've always been coming up with ideas, but as you know, for every 1,000 ideas, one is good. But I started playing. I was playing a lot of dice, believe it or not, with ex-military guys at Monterey Peninsula. My dad and brother were members. I've got a brother who's older than me, and so. But these guys taught me a bunch of dice games. I'm talking like 50 games, and they all gambled. They played for what were called chits, and so. One of the games was 1-4-24. I taught it to my friends. Ship Captain Crew is another name for it. And I just said, there's got to be a way you can play golf with dice. And that's how it started. And I probably within about a month, a buddy and I started working on the concept of this. The rest is really history. I had it took me probably about 3 months to take it from a 6-sided dice to a 12 just because of the odds. But within 2 minutes, you can basically shoot 9 holes of golf, and it became a huge drinking, gambling game for guys at the club. And then kids love it. And then I had, there's so many neat stories about the game, and I still own the game. I licensed it back in 2011. And, but yeah, that's kind of how I got my start. And, everybody started calling me Paddy Shea, and,
it's better than patio furniture.
Well, that's the Irish joke. What's Irish and stays out all summer long?
What?
Patio furniture.
Okay, fine. I had to let you take that one. No,
it's horrible.
Since I already ruined the punch, I've already ruined the punchline.
It's a dad joke. We can cut that.
No. Let me say something about dad jokes. Okay, I love dad jokes.
I do too.
What is it? It's wordplay. That's what we love. We love the wordplay. It's not corny, because I have a son who's now got 2 kids, and he's ripping off dad jokes all the time. And I'm like, wait a minute, you used to yell at me for that.
Yeah. It's all, he inherited them from you. It's passed down from generation to generation.
Absolutely. It really is. We're going to take another time out, and I want to hear more about some of your new products. We'll do that after this. All right, so your company is Upside Golf.
Upside Golf.
And Upside Golf at upsidegolf.com.
That's
and
right.
You have some pretty interesting products that I was looking at. Tell me about the latest things you're working on here.
Well,
and
so back
I was going to say, now that you've got a push cart and you're making all these products for golf carts.
Well, I am first and foremost a golfer, and I'm still working on my game, still trying to be better. But the whole concept started with, I wanted to get back into golf, and I started buying products for my buddies and getting them at a better price. And I was constantly being asked to find stuff. But the first concept was, in 17, was putting a magnet in a rangefinder. And I started building like Frankenstein versions of, as you can see, like just different versions. This was like one of my first molds I had made. And so that's really where it started in 18. I introduced a rangefinder with a magnet. And then, of course, everybody has done it. But then obviously from there, I came up with the first speaker with a magnet, and these are all neodymium. It's hard for me to say, neodymium magnets, which are like the magnet you were showing me earlier, is super strong, but we've just advanced. It's gotten better and better. This is our latest and greatest rangefinder.
What is unique about your rangefinder?
Well, simply it works. It's also got a slope button, but that's first and foremost, a rangefinder has got to work. Yeah. It's fast, it's reliable. And the whole thing is, I'm essentially wholesaling product to people because I don't sell in retail. I only sell direct to consumer. And that's the whole point of Upside. When I did GoLo, think about it. It was before the internet. I was selling into golf shops, and I actually went up and down the coast in a white panel van selling games, but it was hard to get golf shops to pay me back and collect money. It was brutal. And so when I started again, I wanted to, like I said, find products that were high quality, unique in some way, that were also affordable. And then the other part of it is I'm committed to creating raving fans with customers. We want you back, and we take care of you. No questions asked. If you have any problems, we ship cables, we ship replacement stuff, any issues. So we're on top of that, and that's important to us as well. But we've got a pretty cool phone mount that's remote, so you can record yourself. I just started getting into some training aids.
Let me back up for a second. I want to find out about the training aids, but the rangefinder,
mm-hmm.
Do you have to replace the batteries, or are they rechargeable batteries?
No, rechargeable. In fact, that's kind of the neat thing, is no more batteries.
Yeah, I can't understand why they're like, oh, you have to replace the battery on that. No, I don't want to replace the battery.
Yeah. And rangefinders across the board, they're temperamental. Everybody's got to know that. Everybody
absolutely.
Thinks that, and you can charge it in your cart. And so that was kind of the next upgrade to get rid of that. but again, I think just like having one that's accurate and that works is number one. And then having a company support it, because I don't care what company it is, rangefinders have issues. Yeah. Even if it gets, you think those two scopes, you're sending a laser from here that's bouncing back and going into here. If this gets off a millimeter, if you drop it, I mean, they're just not that durable, no matter how you make them.
Right. Have you ever used a rangefinder that also had a GPS with the front, middle, back?
I have.
A screen.
I've seen all of those. Yeah. Listen, I got a buddy that has. Some people like a lot of data. I don't. You're
an old school guy.
Well, it's not so much that. Like for example, I was in technology. I owned TrackMan, Foresight, Flight Scope. I had with Zep, and even my coaching and teaching. I still teach golf, and I think you just do kind of have to strip it down in a way. As long as I can get a number to like a tree, a lake, the pin, and then usually all the carts have front, back, and middle.
Not if you're walking.
Okay.
It's
true.
Come on, man. See the young kids that are in the carts, like get out of the cart and walk.
That's so not true. I think what it is the guys that like to have a good time and have a few beers are in the carts because they have coolers. That would probably be, if this were Family Feud, the number one survey answer on the board.
Drinking. What do you do?
Or drinking, it's too tiring. Traveling. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Right.
What other products? So tell me about the training aid.
So for 1 year, as I said earlier, I'm getting older, but
would you stop saying that to
no, it's true though. But
I'm older than you, so shut up.
Clint Eastwood says, "Don't let the old man in." So I went on a year research mission on trying to gain 10 miles an hour, and so I bought and tried a whole lot of products and just sort of simplified a swing weighted trainer into one item that was affordable where you can unscrew the weights. And then I've put together a bunch of videos that go along with it. And I mean, look, I've had some experience with training and understanding speed and swing, especially with all the years I've coached and all the videos I've created. But the neat thing is it works, and you get people to. Well, what's ironic is in training with speed with this thing, what's come out of is sequencing has really been a big deal, and which I'm not sure that's a word that's talked about a lot, but it's essentially everything moving in the right, all the parts moving in the right way.
Right order,
so that training is, besides speed, is sequencing. And in order to hit a golf ball right, you do have to have speed. You can't hit a 4-iron if you're not swinging fast enough. Same with a driver. A golf club works better when it's swinging faster. So most of the time, I think what happens is we get older, we get tighter, we get less flexible, so we shorten our swing when we should be constantly working on overswinging. I think, which is crazy to me. I keep hearing people like swing softer and within yourself, and I think that's complete BS. I really do. And really? I think, I do. I think you got to get long and languid. Guys like Gary Player, Daly hasn't really shortened his move. You see Phil is constantly working on length. VJ, Paddy Harrington, who's now the longest driver, he spent the last 2 years doing the exact same thing with speed training. Look at all these guys up, what they're doing right now. A lot's changed in that side of the game.
So I'm not really clear exactly what your product is. I
it's
understand the concept of being able to increase your swing speed. And we had a conversation recently with Jacob Bowden about.
Sorry, I'm looking to see if I have it in here. I don't.
That's okay. It's an audio podcast. You can tell me.
It's called the Thunder Stick. Thank you, sir. It's called the Thunder Stick, and it's weighted heavier than a driver. It's got 3 weights on it that you can unscrew to a lighter weight in gram weight. So you can swing it, let's say you swing a golf club at 98 miles an hour. You work from heavy to light. And by the time you get to the lightweight, you can swing it like at 120 miles an hour. So it's just like racing a car. You get used to driving fast. You get used to swinging fast. when I was a kid, I worked with some great instructors, and the rule was swing as hard as you can as long as you're balanced. And that's a big part of it too. So speed training, you are actually getting used to swinging fast. That's it. And with that comes balance. You get to a point too. One of my favorite things with the product is that a lot of times, like I was talking about this afternoon, I will race out to meet some of my buddies who are already on the course. Like I'll be working late or whatever, so I got to meet them on 12. I'll get to the tee and I do like a 1-minute warm up where I stretch a bit and then I work on my range of motion and then I build up. I make probably about 20 swings, and on my last 5 swings, I'm swinging at 120%. Wow. And then usually when you're on the ball, you're dialed back, but that's kind of how you get there. I think it's brilliant, actually. Versus, having to warm up for 3 holes and feeling like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz, right? Because you got no oil.
Yeah. Well, that's why you should definitely go warm up before you're around. You don't just arrive at the first tee.
It's true, but the truth of the matter, Fred, and I'm sure you know this, is most guys are either racing from work or they just drop their kids off, or they've got like a 1 hour and 10-minute window where they're squeezing in, and at least all my buddies here are that way. And so practically speaking, it is hard to warm up, but if you can at least do something in 1 to 5 minutes, it makes a huge difference fast.
Yeah. Good. All right. One more break. We'll be back and we'll find out more about your teaching. Now that we're a couple of months into freshening up our mechanics for the new golf season with the guidance from the late Tony Manzoni, we're facing a different problem: doubt, second-guessing, self-sabotage, lack of trust. That's why we're bringing back another hero of golf instruction who appeared on Golf Smarter 6 times, Dr. Glen Albaugh. And we're doing it, unfortunately, because I'm sorry to announce that Dr. Albaugh passed away on February 9, 2023, at the age of 91. Glen was a pioneering sports psychologist and a giant in the world of golf's mental game, and author of 2 books that we covered extensively on the podcast. He was also a professor and the golf coach at the University of Pacific for nearly 3 decades, and among his many accolades, Glen was awarded an honorary lifetime status in the PGA in 2011 and was inducted into the Golf Writers Hall of Fame in 2013. Information about donations in memory of Dr. Albaugh will be listed in the show notes, and we'll also include links to an article about Glen's life and his 2 books on Amazon. So over the next 6 episodes of Golf Smarter Mulligans, we'll feature all the insights and wisdom he shared with us, starting with episode 41 of Golf Smarter, published on September 6, 2006, about his first book, Winning the Battle Within, The Perfect Swing is the One You Trust.
Trusting you're totally committed to the strategy, trusting the fact that you're aimed, and just trusting your swing. Pre-shot routine has been talked about over and over again in many periodicals, but it's just really essential that we have a well-defined pre-shot routine. Now, physically, it works like this. Typically, a person stands behind the ball where they make the decision on their strategy. Then they walk up into their address position, and at that time, their conscious mind is quiet, and they're seeing the shot, and then they aim, making sure that they keep their imagination out to the target. In other words, feel a swing that matches what they see. And then, after the last look at the target, just trust what they see and feel. So that's how the pre-shot routine works. Doesn't guarantee great shot, but it certainly gives you the best chance to trust the swing that you have.
That's Golf Smarter Mulligans, episode 209, the first of 6 episodes in our series featuring another great friend who we recently lost, Dr. Glen Albaugh. Check the show notes to learn more about Glen and how to get either of his books, Winning the Battle Within and The Clutch Golfer Formula. Please subscribe for free to both of our golf podcasts. Golf Smarter, published every Tuesday since 2005, and our sister podcast that revisits the best of the Golf Smarter podcast called Golf Smarter Mulligans, being released every Friday from wherever you're listening right now. In your years as a PGA professional and a teaching professional, did you ever happen to hear of a guy named Tony Manzoni?
Oh, are you kidding me? The legend,
Yeah,
the great.
no, Really? You know who he is?
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I'd bring him up. And they're like, nope.
No clue. No clue. And what a legend. I mean, how do you know Tony?
I met him on the podcast. He had the very first time he came on, he was with somebody else who had a shot watch, I think it was. And this was probably in 2007 or 8. And he's just such a great storyteller, and he was an amazing communicator. So we had him on the podcast a lot. Yeah. And when he passed away in 2018, I was still getting emails every time he was on from listeners saying, I want to know more. I want to know more. And then when he passed away, his book had gone out of print, and the author and I worked with his wife to get it back out available on a Kindle, which it wasn't. And then he had a DVD that he had created that they ran out of copies, so they just never printed anymore. And so I now have access and share it with the audience. They can just see it online. So Tony was a hero of Golf Smarter and the Golf Smarter community for a long time, and he still is.
Well, that's ironic because there's very few people that you meet in your life that have an instant impact or like he's a kindred spirit right away. And he's 30 years older than me or whatever it is. But ironically, I was at Zepp and I get this phone call, like 2 phone calls. And the message is, hey, Paddy, how you doing? This is Tony Manzoni. What's going on? Listen, you got that Zepp product. Can you do me a favor and fly down to the desert and teach my boys how to use it? Because I think it's fantastic and I think you could help my team. It's just like that. And I'm like, I'm literally like, who is this guy? Like he's casted from The Sopranos, right? And so I call him up. And he's this just sweetheart of a guy. And I had a budget back then. We were doing well. We were a newly funded company. And I said, hey, there's a guy down there who wants me to go work with his team. And my CEO said, yeah, go for it. So I flew down by myself and spent a couple days with his team, just working on what I was talking about, that swing signature club and hand path.
Still at College of the Desert.
Yeah. And still some kids I remember. So I go down and, he just was a funny man. Like, we're in so I don't even haven't had a word with him. We walk into the shop. He's like, Paddy, how you doing? Tony. And so a very pretty lady comes walking in. She's probably, I got to say 45 or 50. And she's asking him a question and he's being super polite to her. And then he turns around. He's like, Paddy, follow me to the office. We walk down to this little corridor and he stops dead in a dime and he turns around and he goes, you'd think at 77, you still wouldn't be attracted to a woman. But I got to tell you, that shit never goes away. I didn't even know the guy. And
God.
But he wasn't hitting on her at all. He was just saying, hey, he appreciates pretty women. Beauty. But then we walk into his office and I don't know if you'd been in his office ever, but it's a shrine. I mean, he's got pictures of everyone. And I'm talking all the celebrities, the old school guys, Hope, Sinatra, Angie Dickinson, Crosby, the whole Rat Pack. And so, of course, I actually had the wherewithal when I was 21 in college to buy 8 tickets to go see Sinatra on his 75th birthday. And I went and saw him at the Circle Star Theater. I took 3 of my buddies and their dates and saw Sinatra. So I had this love affair for Sinatra. So he and I hit it off immediately. And as you know, he was Sinatra's golf coach.
Among other things.
Sinatra
was his daughter's godfather.
Yes, yes, I did know that, and but he could sing. That was the whole hidden thing about Tony. He had a set of pipes, and Sinatra would occasionally make him sing.
Really?
Yes, and here's another great Sinatra story that he told me. He goes, we go to these Sinatra parties that he would have this is down in Palm Desert, and he'd say there was an A table and there was a B table, and if you were like an important guy that night, you sat at Frank's A table, and just like little gems like that.
Yep.
He told some stories too that I can't and will not repeat. But one night, so to make a story a little longer, I came back to film the team because they ended up winning the national championship, which I know they won a lot of, but he was pretty.
I think they only won one national championship, but they won the regional championships 28 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, he had told me they won the big one and asked me to come down, and I said, well, can I film your testimonials? Because after we worked with them, so that's what we did. I brought a film crew in, and he said to me, hey, Paddy, can you do me a favor and teach my friend Tony Turlato? Now, do you know who Tony Turlato is?
I do not.
Tony Turlato makes Tony Manzoni not look as Italian as Tony Manzoni. His Turlato was like the godfather of Sangiovese. He worked in Chicago during the crime mob areas, and he got sent here to work with Mondavi so he would get out of trouble of getting, whacked.
Wow.
And so he ended up he owned Chimney Rock, Rutherford. So I got to do some work with him and his swing, and he was a much older guy, but just a sweetheart. And so both of them asked me to go to dinner one night, and I said, you guys know I'm Irish. They wanted to take me to an Italian restaurant. We get into this place in the desert, and there's four of us, and the whole place came to the table. I just felt like I was with, and what gentlemen, man. I mean, these guys are just salt of the earth men. And Turlato was introducing new beverages and wines, but those guys knew how to live. I have much respect for Tony Manzoni. I miss that guy.
Oh yeah, so do I. And so does the community. They're getting emails regularly going, who teaches like Tony? I want to know more.
He was
nobody. He was just a great communicator.
I think some of the best coaches in the world, the secret ingredient is that they're coachable. And that guy never stopped learning. And that was his vibe. He gave off a vibe that he didn't know everything. And he was constantly, think about it. He brought me in to coach his team. So.
Wow. Yeah. Any more? I mean, I never got a chance to go out to dinner with him. I met with him in person twice. And there's video of it on our website. We have a whole page dedicated to him at golfsmarter.com/Tony. Lowercase t Tony. Yeah.
Yeah. He was fantastic.
It's so awesome that you knew him.
Yeah. I feel privileged for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. He was just,
I want to hear some more stories from you about him at some point.
Oh,
sounds like you knew him. Sounds like you knew him better than I did.
Well, we would have these hour-long conversations a couple times a year, but it was, over the phone. And, if I got a chance to meet him, I would go down. If I was down in the Palm Desert area, we used to own a timeshare down there. And so I would always meet up with him. And then if he had a new idea, he would give me a call and going, what do you think of this one?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's missed. There's no question that he's missed.
One of the originals. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's awesome to talk to you. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah.
You've enlightened me on so many things. Good luck with the new products.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
People should definitely check out upsidegolf.com. The Thunder Stick is a great one if you need a good rangefinder that has magnets on it and things with magnets.
I'll send you a code for your listeners. They can get.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. We'll call it Golf Smarter or something, but you can post it in the video.
Yeah, put it in Golf Smarter. And what are you going to offer them?
I don't know. What do you think I should offer them?
No, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to say
20%.
Wow, that's incredibly generous. Sure,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right, 20% with a checkout code of Golf Smarter at upsidegolf.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got
That's
it.
really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure, Fred.
So check out the products and training aids, especially the Thunder Stick. And he has many helpful items if you're a kart rider at UpsideGolf.com. And when you go there and you choose to do some shopping, use Golf Smarter at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your orders through the end of 2023. Paddy actually has a pretty fun YouTube channel, too, called Upside Golf Company. You may want to check that out. So I'm pretty excited to be playing a little-known Alistair Mackenzie golf course tomorrow. It's a 9-hole course hidden among the redwoods in Sonoma County called Northwood Golf Course. Now, according to their website, quote, following construction in 1928, Northwood had a succession of owners, end quote. But over the decades, it had fallen into disrepair because it had many different owners that kind of loved it, kind of didn't. And also now, according to the website, it says, there are 3 beautiful buildings of coordinated design by architect Edward A. Bonelli, housing a pro shop, a restaurant, a social service office, a post office, and a barber shop, end quote. Also, if you're familiar with the videos by Scratch featuring Eric Anders Lang and his Adventures in Golf YouTube series, his video about Northwood, which lives on the Northwood homepage at northwoodgolf.com, is absolutely beautiful and is what sealed the deal for me on why I'm going out there tomorrow, and I'll give you an update next week. I want to give it a shout out to Cully Johnston of Berwyn, Illinois, for opening today's episode. As our newest Golf Smarter ambassador, Cully chose to receive Tony Manzoni's video of the Lost Fundamental. Do you realize how easy it is to become a Golf Smarter ambassador? There are 2 ways to do it. One, just tell your playing partners about what you've heard on the podcast. And if you want to get something in return, the second way to join is by doing an episode opening, just like Cully did. And when you do, you'll have a choice of gifts to choose from. No, you don't have to pay to become an ambassador. We give back to you. You could choose what Cully did, Tony Manzoni's video, or you can get a glove and glove storage compartment from redroostergolf.com, a unique glove subscription service that offers many styles of gloves in 26 sizes for both men and women. Or you can get a box of X1 balls with the Golf Smarter logo from Odin Golf, the golf brand that sponsors and pays everyday golfers. These tour quality balls are a fraction of the price of what you usually pay. And when you use the code GolfSmarter at checkout, you'll receive an additional 20% off the order. Their link is in today's show notes. Actually, I just ordered another box of X1 balls with our logo to take with me to Bandon Dunes, where we're playing 90 holes in 3 days this coming June. Honestly, I don't plan to come home with any extra balls. How's that for promotion? Even if I have balls left, I'm going to leave them there just so people can find balls with the Odin logo and the Golf Smarter logo. Now, you too are invited to join our exclusive global community of Golf Smarter ambassadors by introducing an upcoming episode. Just send an email and I'll get back to you with some instructions of what to do and what to say. Write to golfsmarterpodcast@gmail.com or click on the Hey Fred button when you visit golfsmarter.com.